We'll now move on to Evolution. Now, I have a big problem with Evolution. It's not what you think. It's not what you think before everybody gets on me. I think all of the matches on this card are spectacular. I think these women are going to put on a fantastic show, and they're going to have great wrestling matches. I think all of them are going to be really solid. And I'm really excited to see this card. It's stacked full of talent. Stacked full of talent. So in that regard, I'm very excited for this card. My problem with it is that in the recent Raws and SmackDowns and promos, there doesn't there feels like there's no build. It feels like there's absolutely no build for majority of these matches going on. It feels like everything's been thrown together. It feels like everything's just been kind of added recently. It feels like, oh, we'll add this, we'll add that, we'll add this, we'll add that. It's like it just feels like everything just been mismatched together at the last minute, and the build towards it has not been good. It's been a couple of promos here and there, but the problem with having two back-to-back PLEs on top of SummerSlam, on top of setting up for Clash, on top of dealing with the backlash of Crown Jewel, is that you don't have time to really flesh out all of these rivalries and segments and matches. And I feel like it's hurt both of these cards very much so. And I feel like there's so much more that could have happened in recent weeks with these matches to add some type of flavor or element or needed, anger necessity to really bring out what could really be a really fun card. And I think it is going to be a really fun card, but I think a lot of people I don't want to call them casual. I don't think they're casual. I think a lot of people are just kind of underlooking it because they don't really see a care towards it. I think all these matches are just gonna be really fun to watch and really fun to enjoy, and even without the build and the rivalry, they're gonna be good wrestling matches. It's gonna be fun to see. And I think that's a really, really good indictment on the women's division in WWE, and how even with a very little build and very little setup, this is going to be a really fun card to watch. So, all things considered, this is going to be a fun card, and I can't wait to see it. But let's get into the preview and prediction. There are, I believe, 7 matches so far confirmed. Let me just double check. Yeah, 7. So it's a pretty big card. And I'm really interested to see how kind of they plan it out. But we'll start with the 20 women battle royal. Some names confirmed, some not. Nikki Bella is supposed to be in it. I'm sure probably going to be some more surprises. I think the winner is Stephanie Vaquer. I think she was the first confirmed, the only one really who really was built with it, who's been promoting it. I think getting her at Clash is a smart move. Getting her in a title picture is a smart move. She's uber talented. I think. I mean, the other idea is that'd be Nikki Bella, but I really don't want it to be Nikki Bella. Again, let's make it Stephanie. Let's be bold. She's brand new. We did it with Julia, and Julia's killing it with the U.S. Women's title. Let's give it to somebody else. Let's give it to Stephanie. Let's let her run with it, and let's have her fight. Probably either Io or Rhea at Clash. I'm again super excited for this match if that does happen. I think it'll sell, it'll work. You have a lot of build towards it, and it'll be a super fun match to watch. So I think you give it to Stephanie, you call it a day, you don't overthink it, you don't do too much with it, and yeah, I think Stephanie Vaquer should win the Battle Royal. That's just it's my opinion, it's my prediction, it's what I'm putting out in the universe. Having her on Clash card and PLE makes a lot of sense. Then we'll do JC Jane versus Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, I do watch NXT, not a lot of it, which is why I don't really talk about NXT matches too much, and it's why I don't really talk about their PLEs too much. I know Great American Bash is happening. I am aware of a lot of the talent in NXT. I'm not. I know about Obi, Femi. I know about I know about most of the roster, the main guys and the top females in NXT. Um, but when I can, I do watch their POEs. Just won't be able to watch Great American Bash, but that's beside the point. But Jordan Grace and JC Jane should be really good. Jordan Grace is a fantastic wrestler. I watched her a little bit at DNA and when she came to WWE. Um, but again, like the problem is that there just doesn't seem to be any build for this match recently on NXT shows. And again, I don't watch NXT regularly, so I can't really say too much about it. But this match kind of feels like an addition that was made at the last second. Again, I don't necessarily hate it. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I'm excited for this match. JC Jane's a great wrestler as well. Um, I just feel like Jordan, this match just kind of feels thrown together. In terms of prediction, here's the thing. I think Jordan Grace is going to be going to the main roster relatively soon. So I think JC Jane just is going to stay in NXT and she's going to feud Blake Monroe for a little bit. So I do feel like Jordan Grace is going to have to take the loss here. Well, that's because of Blake Monroe interfering. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think because Jordan Grace is going to go to Raw or SmackDown relatively soon, probably SmackDown, but I think relatively soon, I think it makes sense for her to kind of eat the pin, lose the match, and have her move. I would like to see her with NXT title. I think would have been good for her. But I think her going to a new brand and her going on to SmackDown or Raw is better. I think one loss here is not going to hurt her too much, especially if she's moving to Raw or SmackDown. I think putting her on the Evolution card and having people get a good look at her before she does that is smart. I think JC Jane, keep her as a champion, have her feud with Blake Monroe, and have that kind of be the feud going forward. But yeah, I think overall, really, really should be a fun match. And I think Jordan Grace will be losing but moving on and winning in that sense. It's a win-win for both females and both girls, and they'll both be really, really solid in this match. Super excited for it. Then we have Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no holds barred match. Here's the thing. When I say no build, this is what I think works. Is that this is a feud that started months ago and has continued to be a feud months after. So this match, while it feels like it's kind of thrown on the card, at least has some semblance of, you know, a rivalry, a feud, pure hatred and anger for each other that it should be a relatively good match. Obviously, Jade has a title shot at SummerSlam um, for the SmackDown Women's title. So I think it makes sense for her to win and keep her momentum for that. And Naomi has the briefcase anyway, so she'll always have momentum regardless of whether she wins or loses this match. I think Jade needs to continue to win. But I think what we need to see again is more of an improvement from Jade. She had a decent match against Asuka, but it wasn't like you could clearly see she wasn't like it wasn't it wasn't where you expect her to be at this point. And I think with Naomi, with somebody she might have chemistry with, somebody who she's worked with before, somebody who can really work with her, I think we'll see a better match from her. But I think we have to really see a really good progression from Jade in this match. Naomi's gonna be great. Naomi's gonna be fantastic. She's gonna kill it. Um, she'll eventually probably take the title off of Jade. I think Jade's winning at SummerSlam regardless, whether it's Tiffany, probably gonna be Tiffany, but we'll get to that in a minute. Um, but I think Naomi's gonna be great. She'll help Jade as best as she could, but we need to see a really big improvement from Jade, especially in this match. Maybe with it being no holds barred, it'll help her. She's got to be more aggressive, more physical, really show that she has a good sense of wrestling and a really good sense of she can work with anybody, regardless of whether they're, a powerhouse, a speedster, a luchador, a technician in the ring. She's got to be able to prove she can work with more than just like a weak jobber. So this would be a good test for her, and I think a no holds barred will help her. And I think Naomi will help her. And I think her having chemistry with Naomi will help. So we'll go from there. But again, should be a relatively fun match. I do think Jade wins because she needs to keep momentum going to SummerSlam, and I think Naomi with the briefcase will be fine eating the loss here. So I think Jade does pull out the win. here. Then we have the always fun, the Fatal 4-Way WWE Women's Tag match between, here we go, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, the champions, Sol Ruca and Zarya from NXT, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss from SmackDown, and the Kabuki Warriors, which is uh, Kairi Sane and Asuka from Raw. I mean, pick whoever you want. I think all four of them work. I think the bold pick would be Sol Ruca and Zarya. Zaruka, shout out my Zarukas out there. Um, I love those two. Zaruka is one of my favorite women's tag teams right now to watch NXT and all of wrestling. Their chemistry is great together, and Zaruka and Zarya are great wrestlers. Um, so it would be fun if they won. I think it'd be pretty bold. I don't think they're gonna do it. But it would be pretty fun to see them as champions. I do think it's a little early for Kari and Asuka to get the belts. I think they've just kind of they just came back together, have them build up a little bit more, have them work a little bit more, and go from there. I think the legit one I could see winning is Charlotte and Alexa, just because I think it would make sense to give them titles and have them work more and get them on mics. And I feel like those two have the ability to really elevate those titles. And not to say that Roxanne and Raquel and Liv didn't, but I don't blame Liv and Raquel for not elevating those titles. I blame management and booking and H and everybody in TKO for not booking that match properly, right? That to me is a fault on them, not on Raquel and Liv. But I feel like with Charlotte and Alexa, the two of them with the titles will add a big presence to them. And even if, they have a minute of screen time, they'll be on and they'll really, really show off those titles. And I gotta say that Liv and Raquel didn't, but when you're jammed with a bunch of Judgment Day stuff together, you kind of lose the titles a little bit. And I feel like breaking the titles away from the Judgment Day, bringing it to SmackDown, a new brand, a new face, a new overlook, and it solely being on Charlotte and Alexa with them not tied to anything like a faction will help and will kind of force them to kind of show off the titles a little bit more. So that's why I think it makes the most sense for Charlotte and Alexa to win the titles here. I could see Raquel and Roxanne winning, but I feel like without Liv, it's a little bit hard. I think Raquel might be going off on a singles run without Liv, and I think that would be great for her. Same with Roxanne. And I feel like Charlotte and Alexa really are kind of in a muddle, at least at SummerSlam and beyond, and it's really been tied between Jade, Tiffany, Naomi, and Nia in that kind of like box system. So I think giving it to Charlotte and Alexa, giving those two something to work with and something to do and promote those titles is really, really important. They've been a fun team to watch. Um, Obviously, Alexa, we've been assuming she'd be part of the White Six. She hasn't. She's been with she's been with Charlotte, so that's kind of worked to some strange degree. But both women are great wrestlers, so it makes sense. But I think Charlotte Flair, she needs a title. She needs a title to work. I think giving her the tag titles makes the most sense here. And Alexa having a title coming back and working more would be good for her as well. So overall, I think it'll be a fun fatal 4-way. It'll be a fun tag match. I think all 8 women involved are going to be fantastic. But I do think that Charlotte and Alexa do come out with the win. Then we have Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, and Bayley for the Intercontinental Championship. And again, similar to Jade and Naomi, the match has been building for a while. It's happened months in advance since WrestleMania. It's been going on. Becky's heel run has been lukewarm, hasn't been that riveting, but that's fine. Lyra has been fantastic. Bayley has been really good. This is going to be a fun match. I do think Becky retains because I do think Bayley and Lyra get in the wrong way. I think that's kind of how they're going to write it and how they're going to book it. I do think Becky keeps it till SummerSlam, either drops it again to Bayley or Lyra. I don't know. I would like to have seen this match at SummerSlam personally, but I get why it's on Evolution. I think it's still going to be a fantastic match regardless. But I do think Becky does win because Lyra and Bayley get in each other's way, and we set up again for another triple threat, maybe with another stipulation. We'll see. But I think these three are going to be fantastic together. I think these three are going to be super, super good and talented together. I do like Becky to win here, though. I do think this has been a really good feud to watch in the past couple of weeks. And I think going forward, we'll see. I think this feud will last till SummerSlam. That's where we'll kind of end it and we'll move on. I do think Lyra gets the belt back. And then we do Lyra and Bayley at Clash. I think that makes the most sense. But yeah, I do like the idea of Becky winning because Lyra and Bayley get in each other's way. So not mad about it. But should be a fun match. Should be really good. Should be great for all three women involved. And I think overall, like this is a good addition to the card. So yeah, super excited for it. But I do think you keep it simple, keep it straightforward. You go Becky, and you move on. Then we have Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship. I think Tiffany has to win. I don't see Trish winning. Again, like it's just I get why Trish came back, and it's gonna be fun to see Trish wrestle. Trish wrestle. It always is. It's always a great moment. And again, this sets up going way back, since what was it, Chamber when they teamed up? I think it was Chamber when they teamed up. But I think Tiffany has to win. I don't see Trish winning it and then taking SummerSlam losing to Jade. I mean, they could. I won't put it past them. They could, but I think just because of what Tiffany and Jade have been doing in recent weeks, it makes sense for Tiffany to win. And I do think it'll be better overall if Tiffany wins. Just 'cause I think the natural progression would be good. But I would not be surprised if they give it to Trish. I really wouldn't. But I think Tiffany's earned it. I think Tiffany deserves to have the match at SummerSlam with Jade. And I think Tiffany's been really, really solid during these past couple months. She kind of had a bit of a slow start, but ever since Naomi won Money in the Bank, the title has been picking up. So I do think we'll get a good match out of her here, a good match at SummerSlam, and she'll have good momentum going forward. So I don't mind it. I don't hate it. I do think it's kind of thrown together last minute to give her Trish, but I think her and Trish have weird chemistry together where it works. I think Trish will be fine. Probably ring rusty. Tiffany will have to really help her, I feel like, but Trish is Trish. She'll be great regardless, and I think it's a good rub to give Tiffany right now that she beats Trish. I think it's a good rub. So I don't hate it. But I do think we are setting up Tiffany Jade for SummerSlam, and then Jade to win, but Naomi to cash in on her and get the title off of her eventually. So I think that is the path I see going. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Trish wins, just because I know how this goes sometimes. But I do think it makes more sense if Tiffany wins. And I want to see Tiffany win. I think Tiffany's great. I think she's fantastic. She's great in the ring. And I think her getting this rub from Trish and her winning and going SummerSlam as champion makes a lot more sense. And then moving on to the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. I can't wait. This is gonna be so good. I mean, like the fact that Io hasn't defended this title was twice is a crime. It's a crime that she's only defended this title maybe twice. And I love that Rhea's getting the opportunity. This has been building up for a while. This is going to be a fantastic match. These two are going to tear the house down. A great 30-minute match, and I will be salivating for it. They're so good. Io's so good. Rhea's so good. They have great chemistry. They're not going to drop the ball. This is a main event. This is a good main event. This is good. So I'm super excited for this. In terms of who wins, because I feel like if Rhea loses, I don't know where we go with her from here because Liv's not around, and so and she's already fought Raquel, and she's fought. I mean, I wouldn't mind her getting a move to SmackDown, but with Io, what does Io do if she loses? You know, it's like I mean, they could rematch at SummerSlam. I think that would be also pretty cool and make the most sense. Um, but I feel like if one of the two of them beats them clean, it just would Rhea turn heel. I think Rhea would have to turn heel for it to work, but you can't turn Rhea heel. Rhea's a babyface. She's always gonna be a babyface, and like Io's a babyface. She's always gonna be a babyface. Like these are two women who are really hard to turn heel, and for people to get them to hate them. You know, like the term heel has been like really outdated recently. People cheer for the heel because we've been cheering for them as face for so long. It's hard to do a heel turn nowadays. It would have to be really like devastating, disastrous, and feel like a betrayal. But I don't see either of these women working as heels because they're so good together, you know, and they're so good as faces. I mean, I could see a match at SummerSlam. If that happens, I would probably say Io's gonna win. But if there isn't a match at SummerSlam, I say they give it to Rhea. It's tough. It's so tough. It's so tough. I genuinely don't know. I think the smart answer and the idea is that they'll have another match at SummerSlam. And because I do think that will happen, I think it has to go to Io. I think Io has to win if there's another match at SummerSlam, and they'll have more build and more of maybe Rhea will turn heel, maybe Io will turn heel, and that will kind of add to the match. Maybe there's a stipulation involved. I don't think anyone interferes. I don't think it's any dirty finish. I think Io or Rhea beat each other clean and they move on. And either woman can eat her pin and be fine. But I think if Rhea eats a pin, she's more likely to recover faster than Io, just because of how over Rhea is and how much she's liked. And I think Io would. She wouldn't struggle, but I think it would be easier for Rhea to kind of eat the pin and move on than it would for Io. I think because of that, I think Io probably wins and probably retains. But regardless, both women will move on. They'll be fine. They'll find other stuff to do, and it'll be fantastic. I think because of that rationale, I am going to say that I do think Io will win. Rhea eats the pin that they have a rematch at SummerSlam. That's it. I think it's perfect. It's right itself. You move on. And I do think overall it's going to be a really, really fun main event and fun match. I don't think there's anything big or serious going to happen before or after. Uh, and I do think it'll be really, really solid and really, really fun. But super excited for this card. Uh, so final predictions, going through it again. Battle War winner, but the Battle War winner is going to be Stephanie Vitaire. I think JC Jane retains over Jordan Grace. I think Jade Cargill beats Naomi. I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss win the tag titles. I think Becky retains. I think Tiffany retains. I think Io retains the belts. And so I think the last thing I'll say, Hunter, TKO, who's ever running WWE right now, you gotta relax on the PLEs. It's good for us for content, for making content, but as a wrestling viewer, we gotta set up feuds a little bit better, and we can't be throwing stuff together because AEW has a big event going on and we have to do something. It's fine. Just you can let wrestling breathe, and you can let these guys and girls do their work. You can just let them have their own builds slowly, steadily for the big matches that happen at PLEs and make it more special. I'm pretty sure we don't have another Saturday Night Main event until December, but that could change. And I'm probably gonna. It took what 6 years for the second evolution. When was the first evolution? Pretty sure it was 2018. Um, yeah, it was 2018. Wow, I got that right. Let's go. So it was like almost 6 years ago. So it's been a long time. So who knows when we get the next Evolution? But them back to back kind of devalues it a little bit, and the fact that SummerSlams are right around the corner and then Clash is right after, it's a lot. And I think this summer there's been a lot of wrestling to cover. I think after this summer we'll kind of slow down, but you don't need a PLE every 2 weeks. But I get it. I know why. It's TKO. It's not WWE, but it just as a wrestling fan, you got to slow down and let these shows build themselves naturally on Raw and SmackDown, and then make these matches on PLEs feel more special because of it. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you for sticking around for this relatively longer bit of episode. Um, Thank you for sticking around and hanging out, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Who you think's gonna win? Who you think's going to what future storylines you see happening? What you would want to see happen? Again, in the comments, let me know what you think. Make sure you like, subscribe, check our other videos, all that stuff. Follow us on our social medias, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the WWE preview prediction of Saturday Night Main Event and WWE Evolution. We'll be back on probably uploading Monday or Tuesday with the review and reaction to both of those PLEs, and of course more stuff going forward. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.